Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for a Film Fanatic new show coming up. So, hope everyone's doing good. It is a very cold Friday morning, 10:08, January 23rd. Um, got some cool things coming up. We got a few quantum shows coming up next month. We're going to be back at Opera House Video doing another show. We've done, this is like um, probably the fourth show that we've done at Opera House Video. We did one by ourselves last summer. It was kind of an experiment. I mean, Opera House Video, of course, totally tied into this channel. The only Opera House Video is the only video store in the entire state that is still operating. And my great friend Dennis Howard runs Opera House Video. He took over and bought the business probably about, geez, 5 years ago maybe now. It's hard to think if it was. I can't remember if it's been over 3 years. But anyway, I've known Dennis for a super long time. He bought the business, and it's the only working video store in the entire state. Open. It's the only video shop in the entire state. We can go in and rent movies, DVDs, Blu-rays, all kinds of genres. They have a pretty amazing selection of movies. That's for sure. So even VHS, which is wild, and they've been selling movies more too. Like around Christmas time, they started selling movies more, and then they do these really cool street sales, like kind of an open house street sale thing where they sell a lot of movies because they acquire so many movies like inventory that they just don't have the room for. So they sell off a lot of the movies, and I've gotten a shit ton of great movies through those sales. But they usually don't do those until like they seem to do them in the spring or when it's warmer summertime. But they haven't done one in a while, so I've gotten some killer movies. I've always been so surprised. So I had this crazy idea of since it's like it's such a special place and it means so much to me. I was like, wait, it's all tied with movies and music and all these things. So why not? What about this idea of doing a show, a quantum show there? And so I had this kind of wacky idea. And the first time we did it, we usually do them. The shows that we've done, we've usually done them like on during the daytime because it's not a music venue. So and their weekends. Saturdays seem to be like their busier days, so we were like, okay, why don't we try doing that? And we would, set up, and so we did a show initially. The first show we did was like on a Saturday, and we set up, and we just played kind of background stuff, and it was great. It was really fun, and then I believe we did a second show after that. Well, we did one with Leo from Osmia. We did a show where we did it at night, and I think it was on a Thursday night, and it was the middle of winter. And then I think we did one other show. It's kind of a blur. We did two shows, two. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've done two. We did two shows with Ronnie, who we're going to be doing another show with soon, and that's going to be in February. And Ronnie, aka Enor, has his own electronic group, which is more like kind of improv based stuff. Sonic Wallpaper is the name. Really cool, interesting stuff. Lots of cool looping effects. Ronnie is a great friend and just an amazing, phenomenal musician and guitar player. Been fortunate to play in a couple bands with him over the last few years. And both of our groups, Sonic Wallpaper and Quantum, have played, pretty pretty good amount of shows together, and so we did this one show, and it was kind of an experiment. We did it where we were going to do this kind of round robin thing, where basically instead of just playing, having two bands and each band plays their own set, we decided to like switch back and forth, like every we I think we kind of talked about a time space where it would be like every you know 10 minutes or so we would switch back and forth, or just set up in a way. And we did end up doing this where we set up kind of almost facing each other, like he was on one side of the room and then I was on the other side of the room, and we set up this thing of where we could see each other, and we would play, bounce, play some of our tracks. We ended up doing lots of improvised music, and for me, that's always a big part of our sets in Quantum. But this was different because about 85% of what we I ended up playing, or what we ended up playing as Quantum, was all improvised. So it was like a really cool challenge. It was a lot of fun, and real spur of the moment. We did play some of our tunes, but we did mainly mainly like this improvised kind of thing. And we basically like just play off of each other, and we like bounce back and forth like every couple of songs or every couple of jams. We would transition, and it was really cool. And we did it for like 2 hours. And I had gotten this idea of doing something totally different as far as like the structure and the setup of like sets, because we could have, because usually it's the other way, where a band will play, if there's multiple bands on a bill, each band plays for an hour, 45 minutes, and then the next band plays. But this idea was like we'll just like continually play back and forth, and I had gotten this idea because I went to this singer songwriter showcase last year at Hey Sailor, and it was all like five or six different singers who also played guitar, and it was cool because they did this thing of where they just kind of went down the line, and each person played a song, and one song segued into the next, and then one musician maybe played a little bit longer than the other person, and then they would kind of circle back. And it was this round robin thing, and I thought it was really cool because you got all this variety of different things, all these different kinds of different music going on, and it had this cool energy because it was like being, like you're almost like a musical chairs kind of a thing, but with music, strictly music. So I was like, that was cool. I enjoyed it because it always had this new flavor or new kind of energy. So I thought, well, why don't I take that idea and do it for, our show? So we did that, and it was really fun. And so we're going to be doing that again coming up next month at Opera House Video. So there'll be a bunch of promotion for that coming up, and that'll be fun. And then we're also going to be doing another show at Hey Sailor with my great friend Eric Halsey, aka Halsey, who is a great friend, my favorite bass player in the universe to play music with, just an awesome musician. He has his own electronic group called Halsey, and we've played together quite a bit too over the last few years. Fabulous stuff, and so very excited. We're going to be doing a show at Hey Sailor, two separate sets. So stay tuned for that. We just started getting the we just got that date confirmed, and we just started to get the ball rolling for the promotion. So pretty excited about that. And then we have some shows coming up with Osmia next week at this newer venue in Brunswick that I've never been to, and then I think we're playing in Belfast at the Legion Hall for for this kind of showcase thing. So there's some cool things coming up. And the thing that's been fun, because usually wintertime it's usually pretty slow when it comes to gigs, but I've been watching a shit ton of movies, and then I've been seeing more new movies than I've ever seen probably in my life, because I've been watching, like the last 2 weeks, I've been watching a brand new movie every night, and it's just been amazing. And I discovered this really phenomenal YouTube channel, which is probably my favorite YouTube channel now, called the Film Crypt. I can't recommend it enough. All of the movies I've been putting up, all of the shows I've been putting up on Film Fanatic have been all of these movies that I have been watching on this YouTube channel, and it's just awesome. It's all 95% of all of the movies are like older, super low budget exploitation movies, which is my number one love. So it's been awesome. Some movies few of the movies I've seen, a few of the movies I do own, but a good majority of most of the movies on this channel are all new for me. So that has been just awesome. So many great, fantastic discoveries. So I can't recommend it enough. And the quality of all of these movies that are on this page, the Film Crypt, is really, really good. Like top notch. I mean, it's like DVD level, high end DVD level, I would say. So it's really good quality. They're uncut. There's no commercials. So what a cool discovery. And so I've been, knee deep in checking out all these new things. So it's been awesome. So today's show is on a movie I had never seen again. Like many of these movies on this channel, the Film Crypt. Good, the majority of the movies I've been watching have been all brand new to me. And I watched this movie the other night called The Attic from 1980. What an awesome movie. Um, there's two directors. It came out in 1980. There's two directors listed for this movie, George Edwards and Gary Graver. An amazing cast. What a cast for this movie. You have the legendary Ray Milland is in this film. This movie came out in 1980. So this was one of the last movies that he did before he passed away. He passed away in, I believe, in 86. But he is so awesome in this. Such an iconic actor. And, this is quite a big departure, because this is definitely a much lower budget film. It's a horror film. Well, I wouldn't say it's only horror. It has other elements. It definitely is a horror film, and it's a suspense driven film, but it's a drama as well, and there's a lot of interesting twists and turns. It's a very low budget film. I kind of consider this movie to be part of the low budget exploitation world. Um, Carrie Snodgrass is also in this, another amazing actress, and also Frances Bay, who is an actress who has been in so many movies as well, like um, so many movies. I mean, just like Ray Milland. I mean, if you look at their discography of all of the films that they have both been in, it's it's kind of staggering. It's pretty wild. Also, Ruth Cox is in this film. Marjorie Eaton, Rosemary Murphy, Fernberry, and also Zale Kessler. What an awesome movie! What really suspenseful. I love that it is very low budget, and it's interesting because I see that that's a thing you see a lot in, well, with Hollywood actors, especially with, say, certain Hollywood actors that were, when they were younger or what have you, they were, big draws, big drop box office draws. They were, like celebrities, and but a lot of the times those, you know, all the stars eventually burn out and things eventually change, and the current the current switches, the tide changes, and some actors are able to keep a long sustained career Others. One thing I've seen a lot when it comes to say low budget films, indie films, or in this case like more exploitation based films, is there's always the case. There's been lots of situations of where you know actors have like gotten their start kind of in the world of exploitation movies, and then eventually became household names. There's many situations of that, and then vice versa happens. The reverse situation happens a lot too, where you have these really big Hollywood actors, and they, for whatever reason, their name isn't as popular. Their movies don't make as much money, so then they end up kind of going back into, or they end up kind of taking on, maybe more for a paycheck, but they end up going into the world of, really low budget filmmaking, um, and exploitation movies. You had actors like Kevin Bacon or Bill Paxton, even, actors that did a lot of kind of exploitation movies early on, low budget films, and then they became like huge stars after. And ever since then they've become like household names. And then you have actors that more or less started out as big actors or actresses, and then they're, for various reasons, like I said, they kind of finished up the tail end of their career in the world of exploitation. And I think like actors like, definitely an actor like Chuck Connors would be one. Jack Palance would be another one. So it always has that interesting thing. And then, occasionally you have actors and even directors that bounce back and forth continually, between low budget films and I think a director who is kind of that in that vein is Bob Clark. So it's always unique and it's always a little bit different. And I kind of feel like with The Attic with Ray Milland, that's probably the case because this is kind of the tail end of his career. He went from working with Hitchcock to doing something like this, which is way more low budget, but it's awesome. And the whole premise of this movie is about this woman, um, who is played by Carrie Snodgrass. Her father is played by Ray Milland, and basically the story is kind of set up around she is like taking care of her father, and he's in a wheelchair, is paraplegic, and he's unable to take care of himself. And the story is basically centered on this daughter taking care of her dad, who is paraplegic, and he can't really do anything on his own. So she is waiting on him hand and foot. But then as the story kind of develops and you kind of see what their relationship is, you realize that Ray Milland's character, who's the dad, is like just a total bastard to her. He's like super abusive. He says like just terrible things, and you get in the sense, and you hear in the story, and you learn about that the mother is now gone. She more or less she passed away, and so it's just the two of them, and so the mother is gone. She's out of the picture. She's died. So now it's just the daughter and the father. And the father is just this total bastard to her, and he is totally ruthless. He's like really abusive, not per se physically, but mentally. And he basically has treats her and in this way of where she essentially is kind of his like slave. She is like his slave. Like everything is done by her, and he like forces her to do all these things, and he like just completely every chance he gets, he just tries to like break her down mentally. So it's pretty intense, and there's a lot of great dialogue in this film. There's a lot of great scenes of where there's a lot of great dinner scenes of where it's just the two of them, and she's like, she's slaving away all day making this huge meal for the two of them. clearly she's worked her butt off, and then they sit down to have this meal, and the whole time he is just a total a total bastard to her, unthankful, um, just such a he's so manipulative, he's so uh, controlling, and throughout these there's like these big kind of dinner scenes where it's just the two of them. Really great acting. I mean, the dialogue is great, the screenplay is really really great, and I love that this movie again is so low budget and it's from 1980. It's just great. And through this whole thing, and you see all of this tension caused by the father, the mother, I should say, the daughter ends up having these like kind of homicidal uh, fantasies of killing him. So there's like all of these sequences of where we're starting to understand how much of a bastard this guy is, the father, and over the course of time, and then she has these like fantasies of basically killing him in all of these various creative and different ways, and it's pretty wild. It's pretty awesome, and they're kind of these like little weird vignettes or dream sequences, where there's like and again there's a couple of some really great scenes of them just kind of sitting at the dinner table and talking, and then there's these scenes of where she just drifts off and she's just like having this daydream or fantasy of like how she could kill him, maybe pushing him down the stairs or like poisoning his food. It's pretty wild, but it's done so well. And there's even moments of where the editing is so cool, and the way they kind of go from into these kind of dreamlike sequences after segueing from them just having this conversation, where you at times, like for me, I've never seen this movie. It was my first time, and there's times where I thought, wow, did she really just kill him? Because it's done really well, the editing, and it's super cool, super super cool. I was really really impressed. And I don't want to go. There's a lot of cool with the addict. There's a lot of cool plot twists in this movie, and it's pretty character based. Um, and it's not. It definitely. I wouldn't say the attic is like a straight up horror film. It definitely has horror elements, and there are, um, especially the second, third act. It goes way more into kind of the horror genre, but it's got a lot more going for it. It's got a lot of other genres thrown in. I think the movie is very suspenseful. There's a lot of great kind of tension, and it's kind of it's a little bit of a slow burn film, which I really enjoyed, and there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of scenes of just the characters in the movie just talking. There's a lot of cool scenes with the daughter and her friend, her girlfriend, who she's kind of confiding to and with about the struggle she's having with her bastard father, and having all of this responsibility and not being able to have a life because she's a young and beautiful woman, but she's like essentially her father's slave, so she can't really have a life. And then her friend, the daughter's friend, also confides into her because she also has this very kind of messed up or complicated relationship with her family as well. So it's pretty interesting. Like they get into that, and so it's not like another side story, but they get into it enough to where it's interesting, and it's like another kind of facet of the whole kind of picture of the movie. Really, really cool. Really, really cool. And there's a lot of scenes of again where it's just people talking, but there is this uh, tension that builds and it gets more and more intense, and then they introduce the horror element, with these fantasies that she's having about killing the father in different ways that she can do it. That's really really cool, and it escalates. And again, I don't want to go into spoilers because this movie is really um, packed with really cool character arcs and a lot of cool store plot twists, and it's got a lot of cool surprises, and not it's not predictable either. I thought, there were times where I was like, okay, I think I know where this movie is going to go or where it's headed, and then it would just kind of take a left turn or a right turn, and I'd be like, oh wow, okay, I didn't see it. And the story is, again, the script is really great, really really good. The direction is, the cinematography, everything technically is really great. And it's definitely very low budget. It has a rawness to it, and it definitely, I feel, especially the last act of the film, moves way more into the horror genre, and is pretty much a fully realized horror film. And it definitely is like this, kind of raw exploitation movie, in within the horror genre, and that's why I would say that this movie is part of that. And again, it's like it's a suspense film. It's a melodrama. It's kind of a cool character study, and then it goes into, very much. It has a lot of really awesome horror elements, and it's also interesting too because you find out early on that the daughter is, well, a pretty mentally disturbed person who is a very troubled person, and we get that right in the beginning. And so coupled with like her dealing with her father and all of his demands and just how he is just such a bastard to her, it's really interesting. It's a really great kind of setup to the story, the characters, and all those things. It's awesome movie, totally awesome movie. I would totally buy this on Blu-ray. The transfer of the attic on this channel, the Film Crypt, is killer. I'm so curious on how this person, guy or girl, I'm not sure, who or what this person is, how they transfer these movies because the quality is great. And I just saw that um, I thought when I first got onto this channel, I discovered it. I saw a lot of the movies were done, fairly, or uploaded, you know, in the past. Some of these movies have been up for quite a while, so I thought maybe this isn't. Maybe this is like a channel that was used a lot, where there were a lot of uploads, because there's like 78, 79 videos, movies on this channel, and I thought, well, maybe this was like a thing that was happening a lot in the past, but this guy or girl doesn't really upload, um, that often, or has taken a long break, or maybe doesn't upload any new movies. Because while I was watching these movies, I'll check to see if there's like new things coming up, and there hasn't been. And but then the other night or last night, I saw this person is still uploading new movies, so I was like, fuck yeah, it's killer, killer. And just talking a little bit more in detail with some of these actors in this movie, The Attic from 1980, amazing cast. Carrie Snodgrass, she, again, really prolific actor. Um, just checking out some of the movies that she's been in. Some I've seen, some I've never seen, some I have never heard of. Um, she was in Diary of a Mad Housewife in 1970. She's a tremendous actress, a true powerhouse. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like, Karen Black or like a Sissy Spacek level, where they just have so many, such a high level skill, or skill set as an actor or actress. Can do anything. Also, she was in Pale Rider, which is an awesome western by Clint Eastwood, of course. Classic western directed by Clint Eastwood. 1985. That's a killer movie. I'd love to see that again. Murphy's Law, she was also in 1986. And she was also in The Fury, which is a Brian, I think it's, yeah, Brian De Palma film, which is awesome. I didn't realize that she was in that. I did a review on The Fury, I think it was last year. I rented it at Opera House Video. It's fucking awesome. I'm a huge Brian De Palma fan, but I forgot that she was in this film. Also, she was in a version of In the Light of the Moon, Ed Gein, in 2000. Blue Sky in 1984. Tracks, or Across the Tracks in 91. Of course, The Attic in 1980. Rabbit Run 1970. She was in Wild Things with Nev Campbell. That movie is so awesome. The Forsaken 2001. A Night in Heaven 83. I mean, super prolific actress. So many different kinds of roles. I know, well, again, I have seen The Fury, and I know I've seen a few of her other movies. Just phenomenal. Of course, Ray Milland, probably the most iconic of the bunch. Dial M for Murder, 1964, the classic. I think one of the best Hitchcock movies. That movie was also remade with Michael Douglas and I think Gwyneth Paltrow and Viggo Mortensen. The Perfect Murder, which is actually a really awesome remake. I remember years ago, I had seen The Perfect Murder first, um, years ago when it came out, and I always loved that movie. And then I remember I didn't know, it was like way after the fact of seeing The Perfect Murder, that was actually a remake of a Hitchcock film. I was like, oh no shit, and I had never seen the original. And I remember one time I rented both The Perfect Murder and Dial M for Murder, and I watched Dial M for Murder first, and then The Perfect Murder, and watched them back to back, and it was really awesome because they're both very different. Um, Fantastic movies, but Dial M for Murder is just great. 64, of course, Alfred Hitchcock. The Lost Weekend in 1945. I mean, Jesus. The Uninvited in 1944. Uh, Bo Gates in uh, 39. Crazy. A Man Alone in 1955. The Big Clock, 1948. Ray Milland has definitely done movies similar to The Attic. He's done movies in the world of exploitation, and one of the best ones is the Frogs from 1972. That movie fucking rules. Um, that was probably the first movie I ever saw with Ray Milland, but it's awesome. I love it. It's such a great trashy movie. The Major and the Minor, 1942. Um, the Man with the X-Ray Eyes, another killer movie from '63. Mystery of Fear, or Ministry of Fear from 1944. Panic in the Year Zero, '62. Premature Burial, which is really fucking awesome. I have that on, I think I have it on DVD. I don't think I have it on Blu-ray. That's a Edgar Allan Poe horror film. Awesome, low budget exploitation movie. Really, really great. Love Story, 1970. Reap the Wild Wind, 1942. The Thing with The Thing with Two Heads, 72. Another great exploitation movie. The Thief in 1952. Copper Cannon, 1950. Easy Living, 37. I mean, just so many fucking movies. Oliver's Story in 78. Um, Bugles in the Afternoon in 52. California, 67. Golden Earrings, 47. Lipson, 58. Escape to Witch Mountain, 75. Man. Circle of Danger, 51. the girl in the red velvet swing in 55. She's the River's Edge 57. I mean, all kinds of stuff from like action, um, film noir, even to horror films, westerns. I mean, just just a fantastic career. I mean, the list is endless. The doctor takes the doctor takes a wife in 1940. Terror in the Wax Museum, another classic horror exploitation movie from 1973. Um, the Pajama Girl Case in 77. Uh, the House, the House in Nightmare Park in 73. So great. The Safecracker 60, or sorry, 58. Hostile Witness 68. I mean, just insane the amount of movies he's been in. Uh, yeah, just an incredible career. And then also can't forget Frances Bay, another just iconic actress in Hollywood. So many movies. Frances Bay's career too, just staggering the amount of movies that she was in. She's awesome in this movie. She kind of plays a smaller role, but she's just fabulous in it regardless. She was in Happy Gilmore, which is, oh man, that's hilarious. I didn't realize that. And that came out in 96. Single White Female, really cool movie from 92. The Paperboy, 94. Uh, Bratty Babies, 2005. Dark Memories, 2006. Edmund, 2005. Of course, The Attic, 80. In the Mouth of Madness, which is one of the best John Carpenter films, I think. Such an awesome movie. H.P. Lovecraft story. Sam Neill. That movie rules. That came out in 94. Foul Play in 78. She was in the original Karate Kid. This was crazy. 84. Finder's Fee in 2001. Stranger Than Fiction, 2000. Nomads, 1980. The Neighbor, 83. Blue Velvet, yeah, I forgot she's in Blue Velvet. My favorite David Lynch film. Man. Yeah. 86. Private School in 83. Kiss the Bride, 2002. Rossini's Ghost in 96. The Wedding Planner, 2001. The Land of Milk and Honey, 2004. Double Exposure. The Grifters, pretty awesome movie from 1990. Man. Also, another, my favorite, well, I should say, definitely one of my favorites, but it was the movie that introduced me to the work. It was the first David Lynch movie I ever saw, and it was also the first movie I ever saw with Nicolas Cage, and also Laura Dern, and also Willem Dafoe, and that is Wild at Heart. Such one of my favorite David Lynch films. 1990. I got to see that on the big screen last year, and that was pretty phenomenal. Arachnophobia from 1990. Man, Inside Monkey Zetterland, 92. Um, Big Top Pee Wee. Wow, that's crazy. 1988. She was also in Twin Peaks. Fire Walk with Me. Amazing, amazing masterpiece. 1992. Goodbye Lover, 86. I remember that being a really cool movie. Chilly Scenes of Winter in 79. Murder in Texas in 81. Honky Tonk Freeway in 81. Callie and Son in 81. Anna's Point, Amy. Grave Secrets, the Legacy in 92. The Operator, 2000. I mean, again, like Ray Milland, and just crazy how many movies that she was in, and her such a diverse career, just amazing career. And it was directed again. There's two directors listed for this movie for The Attic, which is really interesting. You don't see that too often, but every now and then, every now and then you do see it. George Edwards, he passed away in '91. He was a producer, writer. Women of the Prehistoric Planet in '66. The Killing Wind in '73. Yep, just pretty awesome stuff here. And then also Gary Graver, um, Amanda by Night in '81, Trick or Treats in '82. He did a lot of exploitation movies as well. Indecent Exposure, um, The Other Side of the Wind in 2018. Huh? Oh shit. But yeah, The Attic. I can't recommend it enough. It's such an awesome movie. That's one of the things that I love. Again, I just get a big constant reminder of. And I've kind of always felt this way, but I've just kind of it's taken on I guess a little bit more of a meaning to me, or like kind of a realization. But even though like I love the world of exploitation so much, and it's my jam, and that's like my go-to, my well of like, I don't know, it's like comforting, it's fun, it's exciting. And when you say the world, say the when you basically talk about the world of exploitation movies or low budget films, indie films, B movies, all that stuff that you know kind of is under that under that umbrella or under that banner. A lot of the movies I've been doing have been Roger Corman productions. So within that, I really do think that there's so much diversity. I mean, even just from my habits as of late, watching all of these movies on this amazing channel, the Film Crypt, the amount of diversity is staggering. Totally staggering. I mean, you have fantasy exploitation movies, you have horror movies, you have action, more I guess drama driven. You have European and then American directors, and just amazing. So if you like are in the mood, you know, and as a whole, the world of exploitation is like it's endless as far as like the amount of different genres that you could check out or watch, and that's the thing I love the most about it is like if you're in a mood, if you're in a mood to watch a real low budget kind of raw nasty western, you can do that, or you can watch an awesome like nun exploitation movie. You can watch a slasher movie. You can watch just a good horror film. Um, uh, and then you can watch a giallo film if you want to. If you're in the mood for more of a murder mystery film, you can do that. And then you can like, just movies. If you want to watch movies that are just really kind of fucked up and weird, you can do that. A lot of these movies deal with like these movies. I would say overall, and are a little bit more on the well, I wouldn't say lighter side. I shouldn't say that, but you can in the world of exploitation, you can find movies that are really goofy and kind of silly and a little bit more lighthearted, but yet they'll have this thing. You can also watch movies that are that are maybe a little bit more just kind of unhinged and bizarre, and wild. Like Castle of Creeping Flesh is a perfect example, or Infernal Rapist, like movies that do really push that envelope. So the amount of choices within in this style is amazing. Amazing. I don't really see that in really any other forms or other genres of cinema. I really don't, like, as far as that level of diversity. And the Attic, which is today's show, is just like a perfect example of it, because you have a movie that's essentially a melodrama. It's a suspense film. It's a horror film. It's got so many different things in it going for it, and it's just awesome. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.